Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. I'm locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, I'm all yours. Locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, your will, your will. Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. Have a collision with purpose, 'cause you know that you're worth it, and your dream is worth capturing. If I'm not living on purpose, then none of it is worth it. My assignment is uplifting souls for the King, souls for the King, souls for the King.
Greetings, friends of the A Collision with Purpose movement. Welcome to Bridging Generations, Voices of Men in a Changing World. I am Dr. Laxley Stephenson. This groundbreaking podcast delves into the multifaceted experiences of men across different generations. In an era where societal norms and expectations rapidly evolve, this show offers young and older men a unique platform to voice their challenges, triumphs, and perspectives.
Each episode aims to foster understanding and bridge the gap between generations, exploring themes ranging from masculinity and mental health to career dynamics and personal relationships. By bringing together voices from varied age groups, the show sheds light on the commonalities and differences in the male experience, encouraging open dialogue and mutual learning. Whether it's a teenager grappling with pressures of social media or a senior reflecting on the changing definitions of manhood, Bridging Generations is committed to uncovering the real stories of men navigating the complexities of a changing world. I am Dr. Garfield McCook. Greetings, greetings, greetings. How are you, Dr. Laxley?
And I'm doing awesome, Dr. McCook. How are you doing?
For a Monday, it's good. Had a great weekend. Super Bowl was yesterday. Hope your team won.
Well, I don't know that I have a team, but what a great game it was.
Yes, a great game.
And what a halftime show. Quite a statement, I thought.
Yes, a lot of times, most people look forward to that halftime show. And, I hear people giving their different opinions, which one was better. Was it the one with J-Lo years ago? I heard even someone today say, going way back to Michael Jackson.
Yeah, you're seeing all kinds of comments, feedback, and what was it about? Was it appropriate? Guess what? The show is a show, man.
Show is a show. Yes, I know.
Right?
The Chiefs had I would say it was a rude awakening. I didn't think it would have been that lopsided, or it would have been a blowout like it was. But guys came prepared. In soccer we say the ball is round. Again, in football you can say the ball is kind of round.
Well, it's a statement, right?
Yes.
You come to play, you're prepared, you win. And that's just how life is, right? You got to show up.
Yes.
You got to be ready to do what you're there to do, and that's what they did. So, congratulations to Philly. They did it, and they did it in style, right?
They did it in style. They did it in style. Good luck to them. History was about to be made with this repeat, but again, there's time for that. There's a time and place for everything. So,
Time and place for everything, indeed.
yes.
We're missing some folks tonight.
Yeah. So, tonight we got a great show because tonight I'm going to be actually chatting with my good friend, Dr. Laxley Stephenson. And Dr. Stephenson, before we dive into the incredible work you're doing, let's take a moment to learn about the man behind the movement, because you have a movement going on.
Indeed, and we call it the A Collision with Purpose movement. And
right. So you got a great movement going on, Doc. And can you share a bit about your personal journey? Tell the folks listening tonight or tuning in to us from around the world, what shaped you into the leader and visionary you are today?
Well, so let me begin by saying, I'm from Jamaica, and I now reside in Atlanta, but that is not what defined me, right? My life, my journey has been one of resilience, faith, and just total self-discovery. I understand that as a human being, I did not come here in this earth just to occupy space. I came here to leave it a little bit better than I saw it, that I came, right? So I understand that. So resilience, faith, and self-discovery have been a part of my life, right? And there were many defining moments in my life, when I questioned everything, right? Who I was, what my purpose was, and whether I was on the right path. But with all those came, many challenges. But through those challenges, I realized one thing, that purpose is often revealed in the midst of adversity, when you're most challenged. So, like many people out there, I didn't always have that confidence or the clarity that I currently have today. So who you see today is not where I started, clearly, right? So, I went through, there were times when I had my doubts. I experienced failure, and there were moments when I felt lost. Like most people, I imagine you yourself experienced some of those things, right? But what I've discovered that in those times, in those struggles, I learned that purpose isn't just something you find. That's something you find. It's something you stepped into, and that's what I did. I walked into it, or it found me, right? So I learned that every setback, every challenge was sort of preparing me for something greater. And once I got to the point, or to the place where I actually embraced that mindset, my whole perspective started to shift, right? So as I grew in a more spiritual way and professionally as well, I realized that many people, we're on a show about men, right? Especially men struggle in silence. We're living in a world where society tells us how we should be strong, and we can't show vulnerability and those type of things, right? That we should always have everything figured out. We should know what we need to know, right? But what I've discovered, that the real truth is that this whole life is a journey.
Yes.
It's not a destination at all. So that's what led me, to where I am today, pretty much. Yeah.
Interesting. You talk about strength and men. Back in the day, they say men don't cry. We still have that feeling. We have emotions, and I think a strong man is a man that cries, because he shows the world that yes, there's stuff going on within, and I have to release it. If you don't release it, it's bottled inside you, and then that can cause you to really burst. And instead of just letting it out bit by bit, tears are a way of expressing your emotions.
I've had some of those moments when it came out, and no matter how you try to hold it in,
it's coming
out.
If it's a true reason, or you're a true person, it will manifest itself. It's going to come out.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now you also mentioned I always say challenges in life. People look at life and say, "Oh, why is this happening?" I always say, from a Christian perspective, that God gives us challenges, and a lot of time He's testing us. It's just a matter of us passing that test. So that's why I look at it. It's a speed bump. Now, you speak a lot about purpose and a divine calling. Was there a defining moment in your life when you realized your purpose?
There are many defining moments. Yeah, but I remember a time in my life, right, when I felt like everything was falling apart, right? Things was just going astray all over the place. And I had basically reached a breaking point when I even questioned, am I doing the right thing? My career, and, to some extent, my very existence. I was doing that, and I call those, some of the darker moments of my life that I had to really, stop and take a good look outward, because often I find that I was looking outside for validation. So I had to actually stop and say, am I looking where I should? Shouldn't I be looking inward? Right? Because it's all inside of you, right? This is what I discovered. So I started to pay attention. I started to listen more, and to listen more. So that really helped me a lot when I understood that I have some responsibility, and whatever it is I'm here to do, it's already embedded in me, because it's something that was placed in me, right? Not by me, but my Creator, by God, right? So one specific moment came when I remember I was mentoring a young person, a young man, because I've always done that type of mentoring. And this person, he had lost hope in his entire future. Totally lost hope. So through our conversations, I saw firsthand how important the power of words, how encouragement, and just rely on a faith-driven type of guidance. So I saw how that young man turned his life around. And it occurred to me, right, that I have some work to do there. And this was probably one of my calling, to be that type of encourager, to work with people, to mentor people, to give them guidance, and just to help uplift them, So from that moment, I sort of knew a little bit of what my purpose was supposed to be. Some inkling of what it should be.
Yes. And you mentioned when times were, a dark time or a moment or so. I mean, you and I have been real estate brokers for years, and I think we share a lot in common in terms of when 2008 came and things were going down, and you had to make a decision, and then you used that time to explore other avenues that you may have left and didn't do when you were younger. And I saw also that's what generated me opening a personal care home, because we had to find different means or a different source of income. So I understand, and we share commonalities in that respect. Now, Dr. Stephenson, can you share pivotal moments that shaped your leadership? You talk about mentoring, I think you maybe you answered it earlier, but just for a little clarity, moments that shaped your leadership and personal transformation. Was there that specific defining moment when you realized your purpose in that regard? If you answered it before, just elaborate again on it so that the audience, those coming on who didn't hear, can hear again.
Right. Well, you talk about real estate, right? You're a real estate broker, so am I. I remember in 2008, in 2008, 2009, when the economy crashed and everything fell apart, right? I lost my entire business, right? And imagine when you lose something that you poured everything into, all of your energy, your resources, your vision, your wisdom, and during a certain time in my life, I had sort of tied success to all those type of things, right? And then imagine when what you consider success just crashed down on you. You lost it all, right? So you start to question everything. Am I a failure? And I, wasted all my entire life, right? Well, that season, during those days, when those things were happening back in 2008, 2009, it sort of forced me to look back and to learn that there's such a thing as materials, success, but there are other things as well, right? That life transcends way beyond material success. So that sort of informed my understanding of what leadership is all about, that there's more to it, to leadership, than just to get out there and make money and to be successful. There's that part about what you're called to do, about uplifting people, So it was through that type of hardship that I had I would say my first collision with my purpose, right? I realized that my identity was not just in my business, my finances, or my achievements for that matter, right? That was in my ability, my willingness, fire to guide and uplift others.
Right.
So losing my business, as bad as it was not the end of it all. It was an opportunity for me to seek redirection. And that's what I did. What I actually did was I went back to school.
Right.
And from that period of time, a 6-year period, I completed 4 degrees.
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
Still while working, mind you. So what it did for me, talk about leadership, right? What it did for me, I did an assessment of the situation, and said, there's more to it than that, right? There's more to it. So, all of that led me to build something which I believe was even greater, right? Something that wasn't just for me, but for others. And that's what leadership, I believe, is about, right? And then there was another situation, and that is more recent, is when my grandchildren were born, right? So the grandparent yet, the grandfather. Yet.
Looking forward to it.
Well, when that day comes, you will understand what I'm saying, right? That there is something about seeing the next generation right, enter the world, and that will shift your perspective about life. So so I realized at that point that legacy is not what we accumulate. It's about what we pass down. Right. Build them, right? So everything I do from there on, they are tied to it. And and I understand it's not just for me, but for them and for generations to come. So that was the moment I had to become more intentional with my life, knowing that they're here now, right? Because I wanted to make sure I play some kind of role in leaving a place that will serve them well in the future.
Yeah, and I've seen your posts and everything. I've seen your books. One of your books, you have one of the grandkids on it. I've seen that interaction, and it makes me want that same thing. And I look forward to it. I just last Friday I had a conversation with my son who is married, and his mom and dad were talking about when we just got married. We used to pretend that they're kids in the back of the car. I think we were kids ourselves, pretending and talking to them in the back of the car, and then they came. Now they're adults, and we're saying, hey, where are the grandkids now? So we started to pretend again that they're grandkids in the car, and looking forward to that time of life. Now, you spoke with passion about that purpose that was realized during those downtimes, and how I mean, you overcame it, right? So what would be your advice to folks out there right now who are struggling? There are people out there now who they have self-doubt, and they're maybe on the binge of giving up. What would you say to someone in a situation like that?
And I'm speaking, for me, because I still have self-doubts, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's part of life. It's inevitable. We all gonna have self-doubt, but it's how you deal with it, right? It's because especially when life things are not going your way and the way you plan them, and that happens. That can happen. Happens often, right? And speaking for me, I have had those. I've experienced those, right? When I question whether I was doing things the right way. So if you're out there and you're questioning those type of things, right? You have to now ask yourself some questions, right? You have to ask yourself some questions. And one of the questions I always ask myself when things are not going right is, what am I supposed to learn from this situation? So instead of taking on the position of, I can't do it, it's not working, I ask the question, is there something I should be learning from this? Because I believe that every opportunity, every situation that you confront in life is an opportunity to learn, to grow. So it's a teaching moment. And I would also say, look at the situations in your life, because often when something is not working, there are some opportunities being created as well. My example is when the market collapsed and my real estate thing tumbled. That was an opportunity for me to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talk about completing four different degrees. Now, not everyone is so inclined, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to go find what is out there. What is out there that I can do? What is out there that I have the skills to do? And there are instances when you don't have those skills.
Yep.
Because a lot of times you have doubts because you don't feel you're capable. So if you don't have the skills, then what should you do? Go out there and acquire some of those skills.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Most of us, all of us, we have the ability to learn, right? We have the ability to learn. If there's something that is missing, if there's a gap, if there's a gap in your life that is, denying you from pursuing certain things, then go out there and fill those gaps. So see the challenges in your life that is creating the doubts in your life as an opportunity to do something different. And the other thing I would say, I did the book, A Collision with Purpose in Pursuit of Purpose. And one of the things that I discovered is that many individuals, the one thing they did very well is learn how to turn their pain into purpose. Mm-hmm. And so if your doubts and fears are coming as a result of some type of pain in your life, some type of trauma, learn how to convert that into some type of purpose in your life. So, and again, self-doubt will lose its grip when you shift your focus from what you've lost to what you have to give and can gain. So to summarize what you should do if you're in doubt, and I know I gave you a very long, drawn-out answer, to anyone out there who's struggling with doubt, this is what I have to say. You are more capable than you realize that you are. Don't let your failures define you. And there are times when the hardest seasons of your life, and I sort of said it earlier, is preparing you for the greatest chapters of your story. Yeah. So keep pushing forward.
Keep pushing forward. So giving up is not an option. We have to find that alternate based on the situation we are in. And what I hear from you is that sometimes you're placed in situations because life is a journey, and you never know that this would happen. You think you have it all, and then things go down, and you have to pull up your socks and tie those laces, and you got to move on. So what I gather from what you're saying it's never too late for someone to realign themselves or align themselves based on where they are in their life. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. In fact, no matter how many mistakes you've made, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much time has passed and what is not working, today is the perfect opportunity for you to do it. Okay. Always see today as your best day.
Got you. All right, guys, let's take a break and we'll come back and have our conversation with Dr. Laxley Stephenson. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I wake up in the morning and I praise the Lord. I thank Him for His protection and I walk in His steps, declaring that today's provision is set up for me. I love God and I love my friends. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth. Cause I know to whom I belong, I am bold for Christ. Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Loving others as He told me to pray for healing, miracles to see, knowing my identity in Christ, He is in me. I am a bold kid, He loves me, standing firm on His word, proclaiming everything I heard, not afraid because He is with me. Be bold. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth. Because I know to whom I belong, I am bold for Christ. Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid.
Yes. Welcome to a Collision with Purpose podcast, bridging generations, voices of men in a changing world. I'm your host tonight, Dr. Garfield McCook, with our special guest, Dr. Laxley Stephenson. This program is aired every Monday night at 7:30. So join us, tell your friends, and tell your friend to tell a friend. We're just here having conversations, voices of men in a changing world. So Dr. Laxley, it's been a very interesting conversation we're having. You've been, speaking from within. I think personal experiences are what we use to share with others. Our experience. Sometimes people have not had that experience, and sometimes you are telling people, or people can align themselves and say, oh, yes, that is the same thing that happened to me, but they took a different path in terms of solving their situation. You seem to be a person of faith. Faith seems to be a key part of your work. How has that faith guided your journey? And why is it important to men, especially men, to embrace faith in their personal and professional lives?
Wow. So a man of faith, right? And faith has been my anchor, right? and especially, you know, I want to think of when the two times when I talk about, you know, losing my business. That was some challenging time, right? Had I not believe believe I would have folded and disappear like a lot of people did back then. In fact, there were times when I would have people come up to me and say, "You lost so much, but yet you seem so happy." Like as if you didn't lose anything. It's not that I was not burning up and hurting, but I also believe. You know, I knew there was a better day, and I learned that there was a reason why. Because if had I continued in that work, I was so busy. Didn't have time for family, for friends, for anyone. So while it was a good business, it was taking me apart. You know, so my faith was my anchor during those days, right? And I knew I had to trust God that something better was ahead, and something indeed better was ahead, right? And the other time was when my grandchildren, they were born, and I knew right then and there that they came into this world, you know, and for a reason, and that shifted my life as well. You know, it really gave my life deeper meaning, much deeper meaning than ever before. So it is true faith that allows me personally to see beyond my present struggle, and to log on to something much bigger, right? But you asked the question for men, and I believe it's especially crucial for men, right? Because men often, you know, get into this thing of feeling the pressure they are providers, right? And they must have all the answers in their family. And too often they believe they are to carry this burden alone, right? Which is not so, is it? Which is not so. So, but what faith teaches us, at least teach me, is that we don't have to do it all in our own strength, right? Because there is such a thing as wisdom, and there's wisdom in seeking guidance, and strength availed to us when we surrender to something greater than ourselves. So, my understanding in my life of the way faith, you know, is what turns failures into a lesson. It helps you to convert obstacles into opportunities, and your pain into purpose. So in my personal journey, faith has shown me that even when I don't understand the why, I can still trust the who. And we know who that is, right? That's God.
Powerful, 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 powerful. You know, you talk about trying to do it all. And, you know, it's just like relationships, you know. You used to hear about like a marriage. Marriage is 50-50. That's a concept I never, ever believed in. I think marriage or partnership, it's 100%, 100%. You come, you bring what you have, give it your all. I give it my all. And then with that, I think the results will be there. But if you, as you said, you know, put all that burden on your shoulder, and I guess it's a I wouldn't say it's an ego, but it's an ego thing. You know, we are the provider, and we got to do this, and we got to do this. So if we're not doing it, we feel like we're failures. But if we just communicate and trust in Him above, I don't believe anything happens just by luck. These, as I said earlier, it's a test. We are tested, and we just have to pass the test. Now, a collision with purpose. I know that's something that resonates with you. All through, you've been talking about purpose. What was that driving force behind a collision with purpose? I mean, what gap in the world did you see? Because you must have seen a gap somewhere. We've heard you talk about you colliding with that based on the real estate and everything and your grandkids. So what gap in the world did you see that led you to create this vibrant movement, a collision with purpose?
Yeah, well, let me go back to the very beginning, right? Because it really came out of, I went to bed one night and I woke up the next day saying, I want to do something about purpose. So it must have been on my mind, weighing on my mind, right, for that to happen, I believe. I believe. So that happened, woke up that morning and said to my daughter, Kiana, the first person I saw, I had a conversation with, that I want to do something about purpose. And the only question is, there were two questions. What should we call it? And how do we get this information out, get the word out? So she came up with Collision with Purpose. I don't know where she got that name from, but it's just powerful. Yeah, and then my question to her was, how do I get this thing out there? And she suggested, go and walk in the park and introduce it. Take out your phone and introduce it. So I did just that. And by doing that, I posted and shared that 1 minute conversation, 2 minute introduction, and invited people to send me their short videos speaking about purpose. You sent a video in, and many individuals did, many of my friends did. So it was more a thing about, inviting my friends. And that went on, and within a year, I did so many of those, don't even recall how many, those 1 minute videos, and I did over 70 interviews from people across the world. So right there, that said something to me. That said something. I should also add that I was always struggling with this notion that why are so many students, my friends and their children, why are they changing their career path in school so frequently? And it seemed to me like that was a waste of time. They would go, they start this program, then they would change it. In time they're challenged, they would change it, right? So that gave me a sense that there was a lack of clarity. There's a lack of clarity, right? That too many people, students, my friends, all of us were walking through life without clarity, without direction, and without support. So while that was not the known reason why we started a collision with purpose, that became the prevailing thought. And the reason behind pushing and building the movement is to provide that sense of direction, to encourage friends and family members and anyone who wanted to listen to focus and become more intentional with their life. And that's where that purpose thing came into being. So that's pretty much the backdrop behind a collision with purpose, and why it is so important that this movement continues, and we spread the word, right? And we spread the word. So that's pretty much the story behind that, and why this movement is picking up so much momentum, and it's doing what it's doing. And I will tell you that I'm not the only one involved with it. You yourself is involved, Donna is involved, and so many other people. Because I don't even see this Collision with Purpose movement as something that is mine. It's the work. It's the work. And it's there for anyone who would like to tap into it and find some benefits from it.
Well said. So Kiana, if she's listening tonight, and thank you so much. That morning conversation has turned into this great movement, a great movement where we are identifying our own collision with our purpose in this journey called life. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation with Dr. Laxley Stephenson, our special guest tonight.
A trail is written of hearts
hearts that strive. Through fire and flame, they find their way, becoming iron where courage holds sway. Becoming iron, with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher. Displaying strength in the fiercest fight, becoming iron, shining in the night. Faces the darkest night. The empowered man fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong. The inspired man knows where he belongs. Together they rise, conquering fears, becoming iron through trials and fears. Becoming iron with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher. Displaying strength in the fiercest fight, becoming iron, shining in the night. Becoming iron, shining in the night. The brave man faces the darkest night. The empowered man fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong. The inspired man knows where he belongs. Becoming iron, rose where he belongs. Becoming iron, shining in the night. Becoming iron, with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher. Displaying strength in the fiercest fight. Men becoming iron, shining in the night. The brave man faces the darkest night. The empowered man fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong, shining in the night. And the tales will fold and the battles new. Convictions light sees them through. From abysses deep to the morning light. They becoming iron in the endless fight. Becoming iron with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher. Displaying strength in the fiercest fight. Men becoming iron, shining in the night. And the tales still old and the battles new. Convictions like season through. From abysses deep to the morning light. They become iron in the endless fight. They become iron in the endless fight. And the tales of old and the battles new. Convictions like season through.
Yes. Welcome back to a Collision with Purpose podcast. For those just joining us, it's a podcast that talks about bridging generations, voices of men in a changing world. Hope you enjoyed that video a while ago. If you notice, it's talking about iron. And, you know, I remember years ago, while I was back home in high school, there was a fire at the school. And there was this term, our motto for that school was the brave may fall, but never yield. And then someone added, fire burns wood, but tempers steel. So it kind of equates to that iron there. I think it's showing us that we got to have that inner strength, you know, and to become strong, irrespective of the adversities that we have in life. So welcome back again. I am Dr. Garfield McCook, your host, and here with special guest, Dr. Laxley Stephenson. Now, Doc, I know we spoke some time ago when you were trying to come up with your theme for 2025. And that theme you came up with this year, your theme this year is hope, purpose, and positivity. Why did you choose a theme? And what's the importance it has to us, especially in today's world? Because, you know, we have challenging times, irrespective of what side of the aisle you are on.
And I wouldn't just say the aisle, because I don't know that is that important, because politics and those situations don't define us, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think life is challenging, period. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's so many things out there that is bringing in this level of uncertainty into our world, right? So hope for me, and why this is so important, it reminds us that there are better days ahead, that today is not your only day, that there are better days ahead. And of course, that purpose is so important in our lives. It gives our lives meaning. It's our roadmap, but positivity is that thing that fuels us to push through all these challenges, all these uncertainties, all these doubts. So the reason why I chose this particular theme is that it's a reminder that no matter what is happening in your life, no matter what you're facing, you still have a reason to live, to keep moving forward. And that's why this is so important, that we choose that hope and positivity as the theme for our event coming up. So important.
And you talk about the event. I know on the February 22nd, we're all going to be gathering at Shiloh High School for the colloquium. I know we have international speakers coming in, people from around the world, those locally. You'll be honoring a lot of what you call unsung heroes. There will be kids that will be presenting scholarships to. And it's an evening. There'll be entertainment. I mean, it's going to be one of those events that if you listen out there are not there, it's something that we can't tell you about. You have to experience it. So, Dr. Laxley, tell us a little more, expound on your colloquium that will be held on the 22nd of February.
Well, of course, it's going to be at Shiloh High School in Snellville, Georgia. But we'll also be streaming live for individuals who can't make it. Now, I would recommend, I suggest, I encourage you to be there, because there will be an opportunity for you to connect, network with like-minded people. And I promise you that if you're present, and I don't mean just there, but if you're there to willing and open to learn, to grow, and to understand more about yourself, then it will be an opportunity for you to walk away being that person, being closer to that person that you believe you can be. So again, we're honoring individuals from across the globe for their in-service work, the work they're doing in their communities. And these are individuals who, every day they get up, don't expect anything in return. They go out there and do what they're called to do. We are giving away scholarships to 5 students in attendance at the event, right? You must be in attendance to qualify for one of these scholarships. So we're also giving out 2 scholarships to 2 lucky students in Kenya and 2 in Jamaica. So I take it as a total of 9. 9 scholarships. We'll have entertainment, we'll have musicians performing, and we'll have speakers, of course. And of course, my book will be the official launch of my book, Daily Insights Unveiled, Your Odyssey to Find Purpose. And we did name the colloquium, that's the tagline for the colloquium.
Interesting. And how can someone, if someone is interested, how do they get tickets?
Okay, let me see if I can post how about that? That's a good way to do it, right?
Yes.
Post let's see, I wear multiple shoes here, right? All right, there it is. You go in there, click on the link, and purchase your tickets. Tickets are $60, and with that $60, you get a copy of the book, Daily Insights Unveiled. Now, this book, by itself can change your life. It's a number of stories, conversations, meditations. Most of the stories in there are connected to me somehow, something I experienced in my life, and conversations I have with friends. So it's real time stuff that you want to get, and any page you open, you will find something in there that resonates with you and will make a difference in your life. So I highly recommend go out there and get it.
So thanks again, Dr. Lax. And I've known you for some time, and I've always commended you on that composure. I won't say what I call you, but that demeanor, it's always so calm. It lets us know, guys, that you can be effective by being just as calm as Dr. Laxley is. You don't have to be so vocal, because sometimes when you're vocal, it gets over your head and people don't hear what you're saying. But Dr. Lax, I'm not sure where that innate quality came from. I'm not sure if it's grandma or mom or what. Let us, digress a little. Tell us, where did that come from?
Well, I don't know what I was born with. What I do know is I have committed time to become a better person every single day. Mm-hmm. So each day I wake up, I ask the question, what can I do? What can I change to make me a better person? So I think part of what you're seeing as been calm is work that I've put in to understand that there are different ways to address different situations in your life, and the key is always to be true, to be real, and be real. So I believe that anything that I am today, it's a result of what I've experienced in life and how I have learned. One thing I learned is not to be reactive, but to be responsive. And it's difficult to be responsive when you're hyped up.
Right.
So I learned that what is the best way for me to get the results I say I want to get. And for me, it is it's to be very intentional, be very deliberate, and for me, that means to take a very calm approach to what I do. Because I find that I see clearer. My vision is clearer when I'm not overly excited.
Thank you, sir. Words of wisdom. So you got to walk the walk and talk the talk. And guys, you heard it tonight. Dr. Laxley Stephenson, our special guest. So Dr. Stephenson, I know we're going to wrap up in a few minutes. The program is normally an hour to an hour and a half, depending on who we have on as guests. Tonight we're going to go for an hour. Doc, before in closing, if you could leave for our listeners one final message of wisdom and encouragement, something that they can take from tonight's show, they can share it with their friends and family, and they can tell them that, look, never you miss a podcast, Bridging Generations going forward, which is every Monday at 7:30. What would that be? What would that encouragement? What would you leave with us tonight?
Right. I am going to do that. But before I do that, I just want to say something about the collision with purpose and what that means.
Yes.
Because a lot of people have been asked, what does a collision with purpose mean? What is the meaning of it? And tonight I want to give my explanation. Is that when you have that collision with your purpose, it is that divine moment of awakening. Mm-hmm. When every single thing in your life suddenly makes sense. When you realize that your experiences, those struggles that you have, and even the things that your setbacks, right? Mm-hmm. We're all about preparing you for something greater. So that is what a collision with purpose means. And we've been tossing this word out, these words out for the longest while, right? So it is in the moment when you stop running from your calling and start embracing it. That's what a collision with purpose means. When your life starts to align with your God-given purpose. Mm. And guess what? When that is the case, nothing remains the same. Mm. So that is something I believe is important for me to share tonight. Because, and again, as we've been asked that question so many times. But to your question, Dr. McCook, right? To your question, right? Because, and I believe your question was final message, right? Or something like
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes.
So, I don't know how much wisdom I have to offer.
Encouragement.
I seek wisdom myself, right? Right? So, during two of the seasons, right? And they are on different end of the continuum, right? In my life, two of the seasons, right? Was when I lost my business in 2008. And on the other end is when I became a grandfather, right? Both those taught me the same profound truth, believe it or not. It taught me that I am not defined by what happens to me, but more about what I do next in my life. And I don't know if you ever hear me, I always ask the question, what's next? That is something that I live by. If I walk into any situation, I don't walk out of it without asking what is next.
What's next?
Yeah. So when I lost my business, I could have let that thing just destroy me. But instead, I want anyone out there to listen to this, right? What I decided to do, and again, we have choices. We make choices in our lives, and that's something we have control over. I had a discussion with a friend of mine about choices the other day, and it's a discussion that will continue, I'm sure. So instead of letting your failure or whatever is not working define you, see that as an opportunity for redirection in your life. And that's what I did. I just dropped everything and I just divert myself into school, right? Even at my age, like that, and I completed 4 degrees on the trot, right? So instead of letting failure, destroy you, what I did, it forced me to dig deeper into my faith, to understand that my purpose wasn't tied to financial success. It wasn't tied to impact. It was tied to more about resilience and transformation. And when my grandchildren were born, I realized that life isn't about what we achieve. Again, it's about what we leave behind. So, just having them around me just gives me a sense of purpose. Makes me want to go out there and do work that I wouldn't normally want to do. Makes me want to leave this world, at least as much as I can play a part in that, a better place. So to anyone listening, and I know I'm giving you a long answer, who feels lost or facing some type of challenges and who's questioning their sense of worth, I want you to know this. Know that you are not too late. Because I redirected at a very, and whatever I am now in terms of age, but it wasn't that long ago that I said, I'm going to redirect my life and transform my life, right? So understand that you're not too late. You're not too broken. Yes, you might be a bit broken, but you're not too broken. And that your best days are still ahead of you. So no matter what you have lost in life, no matter how far you feel that you're away from your purpose, know that you can rebuild. You are to rise up, get up, stand up, and get it going, right? So just know that your best days are still ahead of you and keep going. And that your past does not define your future, and that purpose is out there waiting for you. You need to step into it. And that's my final take.
Thank you so much, Dr. Laxley Stephenson. And guys, for those just joining, but you can go back and listen to afterwards. But this is a podcast, Bridging Generations, Voices of Men in a Changing World. Now, Dr. Laxley, during the conversation we had tonight, he kept talking about faith, that he was down and, he rebounded. And Matthew 21, verse 22 says, "And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith." So thanks again for joining us with Bridging Generations, Voices of Men in a Changing World. I'm your host for tonight, Dr. Garfield McCook, and we had special guests on tonight, Dr. Laxley Stephenson. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week at 7:30 p.m. sharp. Goodbye.
I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I wake up in the morning and I praise the Lord. I thank Him for His protection, and I walk in His steps, declaring that today's provision is set up for me. I love God and I love my friends. I'm a boy